Hey, fourth graders, Mrs. Shackelford here, and I am taking a look at our language lesson here, and it looks like we are getting into using subjects and verbs correctly, starting here on page 231. And so I just wanted to take a minute and just kind of reinforce what you're going to read on page 231, and then maybe even do a couple of these problems, well, they're not really problems, are they? That would be math, but these different sections here on page 232, think A, think C, and just kind of maybe do a couple of those kind of with you, so you will understand that a little bit, because this is a very important concept that I want to make sure you understand, okay? So first of all, if you have read through page 231, you'll find that when we are dealing with subjects and verbs, they have to agree with one another. In other words, what that means is your subject, if it is singular, which means it's talking about one thing or one person, it needs to have a singular verb. If it is plural, talking about two or more, it needs to have a plural verb. Okay? And a lot of times that is where people, when we're speaking, we will not use that correctly. And so we have to kind of work on that a little bit. But I want you to pay close attention to the fact of what the singular verbs are and what some of the plural verbs are. Okay, for example, if you look at the yellow box at the bottom of page 231, the verbs am, is, was, has, and does, they are singular. And it says, notice how all of them, other than am, they end in S. Okay, and that is kind of interesting to note. You need to keep that in mind, okay? So those are the singular verbs. Some of the plural verbs would be are, were, have, and do, okay? And so those are your plural verbs. And there's a note there at the bottom of the yellow box that says when a sentence contains a verb phrase, which remember, a verb phrase is where you will have maybe like a helper and an action or something like that. Look at their examples. The farmer is harvesting his crops. The cows are grazing in the pasture. See how it has a helper along with an action? That's what we call a verb phrase. We talked about that a while back, okay? So remember that even if you have a verb phrase, it's the helping verb that has to agree with your subject. So you don't need to worry so much about the action. If there's an action, it's the helping verb that needs to agree. For example, the farmer, singular, one, is harvesting. Is a singular verb. So it has a singular subject and a singular verb. Look at the second example. The cows are grazing in the pasture. Cows, more than one, right? Are grazing. Cows are. Those are two plural words. Plural subject, plural verb. Okay? Now, before I let you go, look over at page 232, think A. They want you to write sing, S-I-N-G, in the blank if the following subjects are and verbs are singular, and PL if they are plural, okay? So let's look at the first one. They have students recite. Students recite. So now you think, is that plural or singular? We have students recite. What do you think? Hopefully, you think plural because students, that is more than one, right? Look at number 2. She says. She says. What do you think about that one? Singular or plural? Hopefully you think singular because she, that would be singular, talking about one person, one girl. She says, so that would be singular. So as you go through that section, just kind of take your time, think about what it's saying. Don't make any quick judgments, just take a look at it and see if you think it's singular or plural. Take your time there. Now look at think C. Okay, this says to write yes in the blank if the following subjects and verbs agree, and put no if they do not. So let's look at some of these. Look at number 1. Pirates robs. Pirates robs. Do you think that those subjects and verbs are agreeing there, or do you think they're disagreeing? That one's kind of an obvious one, isn't it? It sounds terrible to us, doesn't it? Pirates robs. Those pirates robs those ships. It sounds silly. So that one is actually incorrect. We would put no. Okay, look at number 2. He don't. Now, we talk like that a lot, don't we? Yeah, but unfortunately it's incorrect. Okay, so that would be no as well. Okay, so as you go through these sections, just take your time and make sure you're looking to see that the subject agrees with the helping verb in particular. Okay, now sometimes you will just have an action verb, just like in that first number, I think C, pirates, robs. You only have an action verb. You don't have a helper. So in that case, you don't have to worry about looking at the helper. But if it is a verb phrase, you always want to make sure that the subject agrees with the helper. Okay? All right, guys. I hope that maybe, even though I just kind of went through it with you a little bit, I hope that maybe helps you a little bit to understand subject and verb agreement. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll kind of go through these pages with you if needed, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye.